The Pendlay Row is a variation on the barbell bent over row exercise that builds muscle and strength throughout the entire back. It's a favorite of competitive weightlifters and can help anyone build a back like a barn door and lift hundreds of pounds. Hey, I'm Sean Hyson, Editor-in-Chief of Onnit, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos. The Pendlay Row is basically a bent over row where the bar begins and ends on the floor each rep. Because you have to reset the bar on the floor, your lower back gets a bit of a break, at least compared to doing the basic bent over row where you suspend your torso above the floor throughout the set and lower the bar only to arm's length. This reset also allows you to lift heavier weights, which makes the Pendlay Row a great strength exercise for the lats, upper back, lower back, core, and grip. The Pendlay Row is named for the late weightlifting coach Glenn Pendlay, who unwittingly invented the exercise in an effort to get his students to train bent over rows more efficiently and with stricter form for better targeting of the lats. It also carries over well to developing the explosive back strength needed for weightlifting and powerlifting movements such as the clean, snatch, and deadlift. Pendlay Row. Step 1. Set up as you would to deadlift, placing your feet at about hip width and just behind the barbell on the floor. Keeping a long spine from your head to your tailbone, bend your hips back as far as you can and bend your knees until you can reach the barbell with your hands about shoulder width apart or a little wider. Your hips should be bent about 90 degrees so that your torso is parallel to the floor, and you must maintain this angle throughout the set. Step 2. Draw your shoulders back and down as if pushing your chest out and closer to the bar beneath you. You should feel your lat muscles contract. Now brace your core. Your neck should be neutral with your eyes focused on the floor in front of you. Step 3. Keeping the rest of your body as still as possible, row the bar explosively to the bottom of your chest or upper abs. Remember to maintain your hip position so that your lower back stays neutral and flat. Step 4. Lower the bar quickly but under control until it touches the floor again. Take a moment to reset the bar, especially if it wobbles, and begin your next rep. Make sure the bar touches down in the same place it started. It's okay to let the bar come down fairly quickly, as the movement is supposed to be explosive with an emphasis on the concentric, upward phase of the lift. But for the sake of safety and control, don't just let it drop. The Pendlay Row works well when programmed for lower reps, so sets of 5 to 8 reps are fine. The key players here are the lats for drawing the arms back, rhomboids for retracting the shoulders, rear deltoids for pulling the arms back, lower and mid traps, retracting the shoulder blades, spinal erectors for stabilizing your spine in the bent over position, biceps for bending the elbows, and core, the various ab muscles brace your spine. Changing torso and hip position. So Coach Pendlay came up with this row variation because he wanted to get people to do bent over rows more strictly. A lot of times what happens is people will get tired or the weight will be too heavy and they'll start to bounce their torso up as they're pulling with the weight. And as they do that, sometimes you'll end up pulling the bar more to your stomach than to your upper abs or chest, which is going to cut down some of the range of motion. So make sure you keep your torso and your hips locked in a position the entire time throughout the whole set, no matter what happens. When you get down here to pull, you stay down here to pull. You don't start shifting your position around to get more reps. Mistake number 2, rounding the spine. This is the worst mistake you could possibly make in any kind of bent over exercise. You don't want to round your torso forward. Always keep this locked in position. The way to think about that is long spine. Stick your tailbone up and back. If this goes round, you could really hurt a disc in your lumbar spine. So no matter how heavy the weight gets, no matter how tired you get, don't slump over and round forward. Mistake number 3, not letting the bar touch the floor between reps. If you don't let the bar touch down in between your reps, you're basically just doing a bent over barbell row. The Pendlay Row, what really makes it distinct is that you touch the ground, reset, and then pull back up. You're doing that reset to take it a little easier on your lower back, and you're also going to develop starting strength by doing that. That's the ability to start the bar from a dead stop on the floor. Develops power, really a useful skill if you're a weightlifter or some other kind of competitive lifter who needs to be explosive when they begin an exercise. Okay, mistake number 4 is pulling the bar to the wrong place. You want to aim right here with the barbell on the top of every rep. If you pull it a little bit too high, you're not going to be working the right muscles. It's more upper back. Too low, you might be getting more biceps. Aim for the same spot every time and touch the same spot on the floor between reps every time. The Pendlay Row can be customized for your needs and goals with a few simple tweaks. Number 1 is an elevated Pendlay Row. If you're really tall like me or you don't have a lot of hip mobility, also like me, you might have trouble getting into this bent over position and reaching the barbell without rounding your back and getting into an unsafe spine position. So a very easy way to correct that or get around it is to elevate the bar on some weight plates, some mats, wooden blocks, whatever you have around that'll just raise it up a few inches. Other than that, the movement is the same. You're gonna get down into position. Now I have a nice flat back. I don't have to worry about rounding as I get tired or if the weight is really, really heavy, and just pull from there. But the same rules apply. I'm still touching the bar down in the same spot and touching my chest in the same spot. Another variation is a paused Pendlay row. You can do this for variety, or if you have a little trouble with the form, you want to make it more strict. A lot of people will have a tendency to just sort of pop the bar up to their chest real quick and let it down. That's okay, but if you want to work on strengthening the upper back, it's good to hold that top position for a split second. So, same rules, but instead of just tapping my chest or bouncing the weight off my chest, hold it for a second and back down. Hold it, back down. While the Pendlay row requires only a barbell and some plates, if you work out at home, you may not have that kind of equipment, but you probably have a bench and some dumbbells. Maybe 2 benches, maybe just 1 bench and a box or some mats, something else you can substitute for a second bench. If that's the case, you might want to try the fisherman row. Looks a little strange, but the idea here is you set up 2 adjacent surfaces about the same level. Place one hand on one, your knees on the other, and then you do a 1-arm row. Now, why would we want to do this? Well, it keeps your hips very, very square. This is very protective for the lower back, but allows you to work 1 arm at a time, unlike the Pendlay row. We get the same basic training effect for your lats. Okay, another alternative to the Pendlay row is the inverted row. If you work out at home, maybe you have a power rack, maybe you don't, but any kind of sturdy surface you can lay a barbell on, or gymnastics rings, or TRX, that works great too. This allows you to do the same basic rowing motion as the Pendlay. You can control it in a number of ways, but with your own body weight for resistance. So we set the bar at about waist height, get underneath it, grab it about shoulder width, make sure this is nice and secure. Extend your hips so your body's in a very straight line. Pull up to your upper abs, lower chest. Pendlay row requires a lot of your hips, so let's start with a basic body weight hip hinge to warm them up. Stand with your feet between hip and shoulder width apart, shoulders back, proud chest like you're getting ready to row some heavy weight, getting the mechanics of it, and just start driving your hips straight back. Feel the stretch in your hamstrings, feel your weight displace backward onto your heels as your hips go back. Keep your knees soft, but not straight. Think long spine from your head to your tailbone, neck neutral. And do 5, 10, 15 of these, 2 or 3 sets, whatever it takes to feel warmed up. Get the hips loose. Warm-up move number 2, the cat camel. Get on all 4s, hands flat on the ground, hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. And from here, we're just gonna push our arms into the floor and round our upper back as high as you can, and then squeeze your shoulder blades together and pull your solar plexus down toward the floor and arch your back real hard. Up and down. Try to keep this movement more at the upper back than in the lower back. So keep your abs turned on. Press, pull, spread, contract. Do about 3 sets of 10 reps there. Sometimes you don't feel focused and alert in the gym, and your workout can suffer as a result. Alpha Brain pre-workout was designed specifically for athletes and gym goers, and it supports focus, power, and endurance. It's the ultimate way to charge up your mind and body. Use the coupon code GETONNIT to get 10% off Alpha Brain pre-workout at onnit.com. Get back to the video. Lifters who want to break from the conventional barbell row, as well as those whose lower backs bother them, may have an easier time doing the Pendlay row. Resting the bar between reps can be a saving grace for the lumbar region. Pendlay rows are also a great way to check your form and ensure your torso stays in the correct position, so you could consider them a good prerequisite to master before returning to the regular bent over row. They're also a perfect accessory lift done after deadlifts, cleans, snatches, or other movements that some lifters compete in. The Pendlay Row trains you to keep your hips and torso braced while you pull explosively, a huge component to all of the aforementioned lifts. Additionally, any lifter who wants to build a big, strong back from the base of the neck down to their sacrum can benefit from working on the Pendlay Row from time to time, especially if they train at home or in a gym where equipment is sparse. As we explained, letting the bar settle on the ground is a key difference between the Pendlay Row and the conventional bent over row. Resting momentarily between reps gives the lower back and core muscles a break. Plus, having to explode the weight up from a dead stop position builds power that can translate to weightlifting and other sports. It also lets you train heavier than a bent over row and make it a more strength-focused movement. Both Pendlay and bent over rows require plenty of trunk stability, and that sets both movements apart from machine and chest supported rows, which allow you to isolate the lat and upper back muscles more completely. Subsequently, supported rows are probably better overall choices for pure muscle gains, while Pendlay and bent over rows are, arguably, more functional movements that involve the whole body and build strength that more readily applies to other lifts and real-life activities. The T-bar row, in which you straddle the barbell while one end is fixed against the floor, is another barbell-based rowing movement. The T-bar setup allows you to stand more upright and is a little easier on the lower back than both the Pendlay and bent over row, and it also lets you go heavier than these lifts, but it doesn't offer the full body challenge the Pendlay row or bent over row do. Choose the row that's most appropriate for your goals, and feel free to experiment with each variation over time. For instance, people who are interested in greater strength and power for weightlifting or powerlifting competition may choose to make Pendlay and bent over rows their mainstay, while muscle seekers may opt for chest-supported rows or T-bar rows. Furthermore, if you're dealing with a back injury, Pendlay rows are a better choice than bent over rows, and chest-supported rows would probably be better still. Pendlay row is a demanding lift that offers the potential to move a lot of weight. For those reasons, it will ask a lot of the nervous system and grip strength of the lifter. Placing the Pendlay row closer to the beginning of your back workout or pull day workout would be a smart choice to maximize the amount of weight lifted and the stimulus. It could also come second in line behind deadlifts if you do those on pull day. Performing Pendlays later in your workout will mean you'll have to go lighter and may not get as much out of them, but it's a good strategy if you want to use less weight so as not to aggravate a back injury or cheat form. In general, it's good to keep the reps on the lower side, 5 to 8. You can complement Pendlay rows with other lower back intensive lifts done for higher reps if you want, 10 reps and above, like the back extension, good morning, and bird dog. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for similar training content. We've also got a whole article that explains the Pendlay row if you click the link in the description below.